The LA Chargers just got a key playoff update, and it involves Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, and the Houston Texans offense. We'll break down all three of these situations here. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. First off, Quentin Johnston missed practice on Wednesday. Now he was listed with a minor thigh injury after Tuesday's practice, which didn't seem like a big deal at first. But then he completely missed Wednesday's practice, and that's when it started to feel serious. This is concerning, especially since Joshua Palmer is already out. So now you're left with Ladd McConkey as the primary target. And when you think about the bigger picture, the Chargers are already dealing with injuries across the board. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, there's been a lot of limited practices and questionable statuses. But Johnston's absence stings because he's been showing real promise lately. He's made plays, and the team needs that kind of production. Losing him could really hurt their offensive rhythm. The injury report overall isn't too bad, but Johnston being sidelined changes a lot. This offense isn't fully where it wants to be yet. Ideally, you'd want multiple playmakers at every position, but right now, it's more about working with what's available. Yes, the Chargers still have an elite coach and a top-tier quarterback who can make things happen. You know, a quarterback can't do much if he is not able to find good targets. We have just witnessed this in the Chiefs-Broncos game. So with the current injuries, the margin of error is just razor thin. Quentin Johnston missing practice is a big deal, no doubt. But here's something important to keep in mind. The Chargers are playing the Houston Texans, not powerhouse teams like the Chiefs, Bills, or Ravens. This matchup matters because the Texans' offense has been struggling a lot. Let's break it down. Houston's offensive line has been a weak spot all season. Their quarterback has been pressured on 35% of dropbacks, the fourth highest in the entire league. Since Week 10, they rank 24th in expected points added per play, which basically means they're one of the least efficient offenses during that stretch. The passing game has been so underwhelming that their running game has actually been statistically more successful. In the NFL, passing typically leads to more explosive plays, but the Texans haven't even been able to move the ball effectively through the air. That makes them much easier to defend. Why does this matter for the Chargers? C.J. Stroud, when facing a two-safety defensive look, has a quarterback rating of just 36. That's near the bottom of the league. So even with the Chargers' injury concerns, their defense should be able to hold up against this offense. The Texans just haven't shown they can consistently score. Now, losing Johnson and Palmer still hurts, but there's Ladd McConkey. He's been stepping up and making plays. Let's talk about his recent performance. On one play, lined up in the slot, he makes a great catch over the middle, 15, maybe 20 yards. But what stands out isn't just the catch, it's his body control. He goes up, secures the ball midair, and keeps the drive moving. Plays like that could be key for the Chargers to stay in control, even with injuries piling up. Ladd McConkey brings something you can't teach. Hidden yardage, that play where he caught the ball, dropped down, and then exploded for another 30 yards. That kind of effort is priceless. Hidden yardage isn't just about penalties or special teams' mistakes. It's plays like these where a receiver turns a solid gain into a huge play, saving the offense from needing to scheme up multiple chunk plays just to cover the same ground. And without Quentin Johnston, the Chargers are going to need more of that from McConkey. But honestly, it feels like they can manage with him stepping up. He's proving he can be more than just a role player. Take another play as an example. In Week 17 game against the New England Patriots, lined up in the slot, McConkey ran a route where he sold a block for just a second, completely fooled the corner. Then, boom, he takes off. It wasn't even a clean look, but the quarterback trusted him and threw it anyway. McConkey made a contested catch, something you might not have expected from him. Again, it's another 20-yard gain, which is great. But here's why it matters so much. If he gets tackled at the 30 or 25-yard line, you're stuck playing the red zone game. That's when things get tough and you have to get creative to score. But McConkey, he has that breakaway ability, like you see with guys like Jahmyr Gibbs. What could be a solid gain turns into a game-changing touchdown because of his vision and burst. And with a struggling Texans offense on the other side, this Chargers team feels like they're in a good spot. They've got a special wide receiver quarterback combo, an elite head coach, and a lot of momentum heading into the playoffs. All things considered, there's a lot to feel positive about. On top of that, the future looks even brighter. According to PFF rankings, the Chargers have had multiple rookies playing significant snaps, even with some injuries. Compare that to teams like Atlanta or the Giants, where young talent just hasn't contributed much. The Chargers have key young players making an impact right now, which only makes their outlook stronger. Even when you look around the league, most teams haven't seen their rookies contribute as significantly as the Chargers. The Lions had one rookie close to 1,000 snaps, but after that, the contributions drop off. The Patriots? Mostly struggling teams played a lot of their young guys. The Rams had the highest number of rookie snaps, but for some teams, it's barely noticeable. 57 snaps, which is basically one full game. But the Chargers? They've had 4 rookies play significant snaps this season. Sure, Junior Colson got hurt, But overall, this shows a young core making an impact. That's definitely a reason to feel optimistic about the future. Now, here's another interesting takeaway from the PFF rankings. The Chargers' offensive line is ranked 21st in the league, which on the surface doesn't sound great. And when you see red marks on those rankings, it's usually a red flag, right? But here's why this actually looks promising. Even with a lower rated offensive line and some weaker spots, like with Bradley Bozeman and Trey Pipkins, they've still managed to run the ball effectively and keep Justin Herbert protected in most situations. That says a lot about the coaching influence and the system in place. And, with Jim Harbaugh at the helm, physicality and toughness are core values. He's going to focus on improving that unit in the offseason. So when the O-line isn't grading well but still performing decently, it speaks to discipline and resilience. And that's part of why this team has managed to stay competitive. Another point worth mentioning, since we're talking PFF, has to do with the free agency outlook. PFF highlighted which free agents each team should target, and Najee Harris was listed as an ideal RB2 fit for the Chargers. Now, the running back room could definitely use a boost. It hasn't been a strength this year, but imagine if the Chargers could land a solid free agent like Harris or draft a dynamic rookie back. That's another reason to feel positive. This offense isn't fully developed yet. The Ezekiel Elliott signing? Yeah, that hasn't moved the needle, but with the right additions, this offense could take a big step forward next season. And the fact that they're already in the playoffs, even with these gaps, speaks volumes about the potential here. Besides the bad injury news, the Chargers also faced a weird problem during their playoff preparation. The team is gearing up for their wild card matchup against the Houston Texans, but things haven't exactly been routine. Practicing at their state-of-the-art facility, the Bolt in El Segundo, the team had to adjust its schedule due to worsening air quality caused by the ongoing fires in Los Angeles. On Tuesday, the air quality hit a concerning level of 201, classified as very unhealthy for breathing. Because of this, head coach Jim Harbaugh changed the usual practice format. The offense and defense trained separately, which is a break from the Chargers' typical preparation. Justin Herbert and the offense took the field while the defense was scheduled for a later session. Offensive coordinator Greg Roman clarified the decision, saying the team received an improved air quality report, allowing them to continue practice with adjustments instead of canceling it altogether. Roman also mentioned that Harbaugh already has contingency plans if conditions worsen. Defensive coordinator Jesse Minter backed Harbaugh's leadership, emphasizing his ability to handle challenges under pressure. One thing I know about Jim Harbaugh is he's a problem solver. The best problem solver I've been around. I trust the process and plan he has in place. Unfortunately, the wildfires have directly impacted some members of the Chargers organization. Wide receivers coach Sanjay Lal's home in Calabasas was affected by both the fires and power outages. Roman even described his experience during the previous night as intense, with high winds making the situation even more dangerous. The Santa Ana winds are expected to ease before the Chargers travel to Houston, but the team isn't just focusing on their game. The organization announced a $200,000 donation to assist those affected by the fires. The funds will go to groups like the American Red Cross, LA Fire Department Foundation, Team Rubicon, and pet rescue organizations, helping evacuees, firefighters, and displaced pets. These fires have been worsened by strong winds and dry weather, making containment extremely difficult. With no clear end in sight, both the NFL and the Chargers are closely monitoring the situation, especially with other games in the area, including Monday night's Rams versus Vikings matchup at SoFi Stadium. And there you have it. Plenty to think about as the Chargers prepare for their wild card matchup against the Texans. From the injury concerns with Quentin Johnston to Ladd McConkey stepping up, and the unusual practice adjustments due to the wildfires, there's a lot happening for this team heading into the playoffs. Now, I'm curious. Do you think Ladd McConkey has what it takes to be a consistent difference maker in the postseason? Or will the Chargers need someone else to step up even more? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, let me know. How confident are you in this Chargers squad making a deep playoff run with the current roster?